What is up, YouTube? McIntyre here. Today, I'm doing my first impression video of Malthael. I honestly have not read anything about this character. I know that everyone says he's a tank buster. I don't know what any of his abilities do. I don't know. His passive marked enemies are revealed and take damage. So he applies a dot and it gives vision. That's pretty dope. You can extract souls of nearby enemies afflicted by your passive. Dealing damage and healing yourself. Hero targets heal Malthael for an additional 3. So if you stack this on a bunch of people and you activate it, you steal their souls. This is on a 2-second cooldown. Okay. So that's pretty neat. He's another character where you spam Q a lot, just like Genji and Sylvanas. We have Wraith Strike. Instantly teleport through an enemy afflicted by your mark, dealing damage and refreshing your mark. Okay. Alright. So you see some synergy going on here. A little blink. Alright. And we have Death Shroud. After 0.25, unleash a Wrath of Dark Mist that applies your passive. Okay, so it's a skill shot. So you can... Nice. So that seems like your basic engage right there. The real question is, can you apply this to minions? And you can. Okay, cool. This also stacks on your Q. And you heal. Nice. Alright, cool. So we're starting to see some things going on with this character. Now in a team fight, you don't have to necessarily get to the back line. You just have to 96. Health for activate. Thank you, Malf. Okay, Malf. Okay, I'm gonna walk over here now. Alright, so I was gonna say, can you do boss well? And not really. But he's still pretty cool. He's got some cool things going on there. Alright, so now we're looking at the abilities, which is the talents, right? This is the exciting part. Our first is going to be our W. It has increased range, which is actually fairly nice, especially against some heroes that might have this, very far distancing gap closers. A Vala, for example, right? If you apply your passive to the Vala, she blinks, she tumbles, you're right on top of her still. So this is actually fairly strong sounding. Always like increased range on abilities that are gap closers. We have On a Pale Horse, where you gain additional move speed while mounted. That seems pretty memey. Maybe this is just good for rotations. Definitely on a map like Warhead, for example, where the map's so big. It's 30 seconds to get from the top to the bottom of the map, because Blizzard likes to watch people ride around on their mounts. This could be good there, honestly. It doesn't really give a reason or kind of change up your team fight. And for that reason, I'm not a huge fan of that sort of talent, because it won't affect a team fight, right? So now we have Fear the Reaper. Cool name. Sprint. Activate to increase move speed by 25% and pass through other units. So this is nice too. This allows you to not get body blocked. Honestly, it's between Death Reach and Fear the Reaper. I personally would go with Death Reach. I think the 35% increased range on W seems pretty nice. The only problem actually with this talent is that you have to apply passive, which means you have to land your E. So maybe Fear the Reaper is just better because of that, right? Assuming we have our passive on somebody, then this talent does get value. But if it's hard to apply the passive to the back line, really you're going to be just Wing to like melee to melee, right? And so Fear the Reaper seems better just to have a sprint, right? So we're looking at our level 4 talents now. Die Alone. This is for our Q. Soul Rip deals 75% more damage if it only hits one hero. Okay, so let's do. So we got 228 there. Let's try it right here. Holy moly. Okay. So I think it's actually fairly possible to just have your passive on one target, especially if it's like a tank or something like that, right? I think it is possible to have that.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
So that talent could be really powerful for that reason. If you are trying to just eliminate one person, then that talent could be really powerful. So throw and shade, this is our E talent. Hit 20 enemies with our E, permanently increases your E range and reduces its cooldown by 2 seconds. So 6-second cooldown, increase range. Not really that exciting. Quest, apply Reaper's Mark to hero for 150 seconds. Permanently increases. Okay, so this seems like where you probably want to be at. Increasing your passive for 2 seconds essentially drains an additional 5% of a target's health every time you hit them. So that's pretty powerful. And yeah, it's going to be between Black Harvest and Die Alone to see which one is better. I don't know what these two pair with down the line, so we'll just take Die Alone for right now. Cold Hand, Soul Rip slows. So this is a talent that essentially says, hey, you don't want to just have your mark on one person, or maybe it does. Maybe it says, oh yeah, you just want to mark one person and kill them and slow them. Could be good, right? I like AoE slows. Mortality, when damaging a hero, Wrath Strike deals bonus damage equal to 4% of that hero's maximum health. So this is for your W. You basically just chip another 4% off every time you W. So that's not bad either. Activate to reduce the healing received by heroes afflicted by Reaper's Mark. So that's really cool. This is just basically like, if I hit this person, like this person, they better not receive heals. Actually, I like the slow and the healing, depending on the enemy team. If the enemy team has like very high burst heals, then I think this is better. If not, I think that Cold Hand's better. And this actually pairs really nicely with Black Harvest, right? Because this will allow our mark to be lasting longer on targets. So, you know, we can Black Harvest and then activate Death Touch. You know, so a little synergy there too. I like Cold Hand. I actually like all of these really, but I think Cold Hand or Death Touch will be where we're on for this character.
Choose a talent.
All right, so we got our tins now. Rook, apply Reaper's Mark to nearby enemies, gain 20 armor, and unleash a torrent of souls. Continually apply Reaper Mark.
Destroyed.
So that's pretty good. Just get an AoE mark going on. You can stack your mark while that's happening. So this is really nice with that Cold Hand. Actually disgustingly terrible with Die Alone. So let's, you know, I think in this case, right, we not want to take Die Alone at 4, but Death Touch of Death seems really powerful with this, right? Now we're hitting AoE and we're applying AoE healing reduction. So that seems pretty nice. Let's activate it just to check it out. So essentially what just happened is Blizzard said, haha Kerrigan, we just made a new hero and we're going to give him armor when he hits his R, but you can have Maelstrom and it can do 40 damage a second at level 20. So basically Blizzard just laughing at our faces as far as Kerrigan goes, because they essentially just made Kerrigan ult times a lot. Feels bad. So we're going to reset our talents now.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
We'll go Black Harvest, Touch of Death. Although now, okay, so Last Rites is the second talent here. So apply a death sentence to an enemy hero that after 2 seconds deals damage equal to 50% of their missing health. Enemies killed while under the effect permanently reduces cooldown by 5 to a minimum of 15. So
choose a talent.
I can get this down at 15-second cooldown. Is that what's happening? Is this a 15-second cooldown now? Whoa. This is a 10-second cooldown. Alright, let's go cast this on Arthas. Interesting. The one thing about this talent that I don't like is that it does not apply mark.
Well done.
So it does not apply a mark. So you can't Reaper's Mark off of Bling. Because if you could, if this applied a mark, then I think range level 1 for W would be powerful.
Well, that was rather entertaining.
Oh, it's pretty cool. Really, actually, really fun ability. Okay, I like that. Not sure. I'm not sure if you're going to take it over the other, but you could in a kill comp situation, right? Because it's always going to deal 50% of target health. So if you're trying to burst out one person and I apply that to them, that person's going to take 50% of their current health, which is going to be strong no matter what. So we have Siphon Soul. This is going to pair really nicely with, like, you know, AoE slow on top of Tormented Soul, on top of, now we have Soul Rip. This is ripping 4% of maximum health of our people. So kicking it out from 3 to 4. Extra 1% could be good, I guess. Ethereal Existence. Gain 15% physical armor per enemy hero afflicted by Reaper Mark. So we can just casually gain a 50% armor if we have 3 people marked. So if we hit ult or if we just auto 3 people, you got 50% armor, physical. Really nice against melee comps like Greymane. Inevitable End. Activate and become unstoppable. Nice. It does remove all your Reaper marks, but you can self-cleanse. So that's pretty good in one-shot comps if you're on the other end of that. A good tech talent for sure. And we have an activatable spell shield, 50%, just like Tychus. Honestly, I like when spell shields are activatable. It allows the player to make a decision. So all these are really nice, honestly. We have our sustain talent, we have our against melee talent, we have our against one-shot talent, and we have our against spell talent, right? So they basically give them a talent for everything, which is really nice. We'll take the healing for now.
Choose a talent.
Look at the 16. Increase soul range. Okay, we can increase the soul rip range, and we decrease the cooldown. Wait a second, 50%. All these look really good though. All these look really good. Wraith Strike now damages and applies Reaper marks to enemies around its target. That seems pretty lackluster. So these two seem pretty good. The question here is that, okay, so let's auto this once. So it's going to dot out for 4 seconds because I took Black Harvest. So my question now is, on that 4th proc, will it deal 100% more? I think it will. Honestly, this talent seems pretty crazy too. Let's check out the range. So there's the range without the talent, and I will talent it.
Choose a talent.
Wow. So now my Q's on a 1.5 second cooldown. Wow. Wow. Interesting. A lot of Q spamming. Okay, so now let's look at our level 20. Angel of Death, last right heals for 100% of the damage dealt, and its current and future cooldown reduction bonuses are doubled. If you could make it a 0 second cooldown. Death Shroud leaves a trail in its wake for 4 seconds, applying Reaper's Mark. Wait a second, are you serious? Activate to respawn. Activate while dead to immediately respawn at the altar, but increase. So you have Resurgence of the Storm. Wow. Here, take down, extend Tormented Soul's duration by 4 seconds. So he's just like a death ball. Okay, let's reset the talents and let's go through and actually talk about what we think is best. I think Fear the Reaper is really good. All right, I think Black Harvest probably the best.
Choose a talent.
Honestly, if they have burst healing, Touch of Death. If they have they don't, slow.
Choose a talent.
Then we go Tormented Souls.
Choose a talent.
Then depending on what they have, increased healing, we could take the armor. Physical armor seems really strong here since we can AoE apply the marks to everybody with our R. Then we have permanent physical armor, which seems pretty nutty. Again, this is going to be a tech challenge. It's going to be just a tech choice. Here we're going to take Soul Collector and then Reaper of Souls. So now if we get kills, our W keeps going, which is pretty crazy.
Enemy slain.
And we have the move speed. Dang, I don't know. I want to play him in a real game. Yeah, I'm gonna try him in a new game, in a real game. All right, so that's that. I think this is it seems like a really strong build right here. Honestly, this is like the death, like the the AOE death build. And just for fun's sake, we'll go with like the one-shot build. I think you would take Death's Reach or Pale on a Pale Horse. Pale Horse will help you to get to the target you want to get to, like flanking, right? So assume we want to flank the enemy, then this talent would be really powerful, right? But we'll try the this would be the one-shot build, right? So we're gonna go Soul Rip on a single target. We want deals bonus damage to heroes. Then we have Last Rites. Then we'll go probably Cleanse. No, we can't remove our mark from the person. Oh, maybe we could once we got to them. So essentially, you would get in there and then make sure you're unstoppable.
Choose a talent.
And then we'll have I don't know. I don't even know what we'd go here. And Angel Order. So the idea with this build would be that you come up on them. So I think the mount speed could be powerful here. Something like that. You would just try to one-shot somebody in a team fight. This would probably be...
Killing spree.
This would probably be his one-shot build if he had one. Because then you could cleanse but reapply the mark. So
rather entertaining.
So even though you use this to become unstoppable, you would auto the hero and just get the mark right back on them, right? And this way the other team can't kill you when you go in for the one shot. Still seems really powerful. All right, well, that's gonna be it for my first impressions. How do I feel about the hero? As far as like from a competitive point of view, he does seem really powerful. I think his problem is gonna be against teams that want to one-shot him. But even then, at 13, he does have talents to kind of stop that from happening. He punishes long, drawn-out fights since he can just drain constantly. He also punishes death balls, which is nice because a lot of teams are running death ball comps, and if you want to clump up, like Ariel, for example, imagine Touch of Death when we've applied our Tormented Souls and everybody has mark and we're spamming Q, right? We get the souls going. They're trying to stack for heals. We Reaper into Wraith Strike into their backline. Now we have the souls on everybody. We rip their healing reduction. We're popping off. The Ariel's trying to spam her stuff. It's not doing anything. It's going to be really powerful in that situation, right? Whereas a team that has like a bunch of squirrely heroes like Falstad and Li Ming, and then they have a Muradin and Malfurion or something, right? That sort of team where they're all spaced out within a team fight, he's going to have a much harder time in those sorts of fights. and that might be when you start turning to your last right builds and you're trying to one-shot the enemy Murden or something like that. So, but we're gonna hop into the game. This is gonna be it for this video. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to throw a like and subscribe, and check out my Twitch and Twitter. I'm gonna be playing the PTR a lot more on both of on my Twitch. So come and ask me questions there. But somewhere in the screen now, you should see a gameplay towards this hero. I cannot wait to play him. But I'll see you guys in that video. So take it easy.